Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to go and take a look at Greninja. Because you see, Greninja is just about to get a whole bunch better. And you're not going to hear me say this about many cards or many Pokemon, but it's because of the Detective Pikachu mini set. You see, the Detective Pikachu mini set is going to be coming out at the end of the month, March 29th. And for some reason, there are basically 3 good cards in the set. Now, one of them is Ditto. We like the Ditto. I'll pop a link to that one in the description. Feel free to peruse it at your leisure. But the other 2 are Greninja. Greninja's weirdly awesome because of Detective Pikachu. Now, we do actually have a Greninja at the moment, which is none too shabby. We lost the one from X and Y that let you do cheeky damage. What you could do was discard a water energy from your hand and drop 3 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. We lost it. And we lost a Greninja from Breakpoint that did 40 damage and turned off abilities. That's sad. Similarly, we lost a Frogadier with water duplicates, which allowed you to go ahead and just get all of your Frogadier out in one go. And we also lost Greninja Break, which let you discard a water energy from your hand and drop 6 damage counters on your opponent's side of the field. They're all gone, ladies and gentlemen. But we have still got Greninja Gx, and we've still got the Frogadier from Forbidden Light. So the Frogadier from Forbidden Light, when you evolve up into it, you get to put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Cool. And Greninja GX, when you evolve up into it, you get to put 3 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. And we've seen this see a little bit of play. It's been quite trendy to play it with Glaceon to block EX and GX abilities. There's been a few Zoroark Greninja running around because, you know, Zoroark's good with everything. And there's that weird deck with Slacking and Meganium where you actually attack with it using super boost energy. It's a little bit weird. Shintaro Ito made it work over in Japan, but then again, Shintaro Ito can make anything work. Seriously, that dude sees the game differently to the rest of us. But in Detective Pikachu, we're getting 2 new Greninja. Well, that's not strictly true. In the set, we're getting 1 new Greninja, and then as a promo card in a standalone product associated with Detective Pikachu, where you get boosters of Detective Pikachu, we're getting Greninja GX. So if we look at a non-GX here, it's got an ability that says that if any damage would be done to Greninja, flip a coin, and if heads, you prevent that damage. That's nuts. 50% of the time, that's staying around. And that's if your opponent's going to 1-hit KO it. It turns a 1-hit KO into, on average, a 2-hit KO. It turns a 2-hit KO on average into a 4-hit KO. And it turns a 3-hit KO on average into a 6-hit KO. Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, your opponent's not getting rid of this anytime soon. And yeah, there are going to be those games where you can't flip a heads, but there are going to be those games where you can't flip a tails. If you play this Greninja, there are going to be games where you just keep flipping heads, and your opponent just doesn't damage you. Now, as for the attack, it's fine. It does 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, either active or bench. No weakness or resistance on the bench, but you do to the active. The thing is, if you're not taking any damage back, if you would be 1-hit KO'd, on average, you're getting 2 turns to do this. So that's 100 to 2 different Pokemon, or 50 to 4 different Pokemon. And at this stage, quick shout out, do please give a thought to the Tapu Lele that can then use counter energy to move all of this around if you're behind on prizes. So this could be an awful lot of fun. And what's even better about this is that you're getting 2 turns to get the next Greninja rolling. So it's not a single energy attack, it's 2 energy, which kind of sucks. But in theory, you shouldn't be getting 1-hit KO'd, you should be getting 2-hit KO'd, at worst. So that's going to give you 2 turns to manually attach the energy and get this rolling. The thing is, we're water. So we've got Aqua Patch to accelerate energy, and we've got Quagsire to accelerate energy. Well, no, that's not strictly true. We've got Naganadel to accelerate energy to itself, and then Quagsire to move it to the active, but it fulfills the same purpose. So you really shouldn't be struggling to get the energy on Greninja here. And the thing is, yes, it's a little bit underwhelming as an attack. But firstly, you give up one prize and half the time you don't even take any damage. Your ability can be turned off by slacking, but that's it. It's really not a huge problem. And secondly, it thematically fits with Greninja. Because remember the Frogadier that we're basically going to be forced to play? Drops 2 damage counters. And remember that you've got Greninja Gx. Now, you don't have to play that here, but you can. And then, of course, after you play that Greninja Gx, you can play something like an Ace Roller or a Super Scooper to pick it up and then just keep rolling, getting that time and time again. So you're dropping 2 damage counters with a Frogadier and 3 damage counters with a Greninja, and then spreading damage around with Greninja, and this is going to add up very, very quickly indeed. I am convinced that somebody is going to make a deck with this. And I've already mentioned things like Aqua Patch to accelerate energy, but don't forget that we've got Brooklet Hill, which helps search out your basics, including a Alolan Vulpix, which evolves into a Alolan Ninetales, which is awesome here for getting your rare candy and getting your stage 2s going. Ordinarily, right, you don't really want to be using rare candy, you want to be manually evolving up with Frogadier to drop the damage, but it does give you an option to get that turn 2 Greninja that you wouldn't have if you're evolving up manually. But that's just one of the 2 Greninja that we're getting. We're also getting a new Greninja GX, which is Redonk. What it does, as an ability, once during your turn before you attack, if this Pokemon is the last card in your hand, you may play it onto your bench and draw 3 cards. It's a draw engine. Now, it's got to be the only card left in your hand, but, I mean, look, we've been doing this with stuff like Archies for years. It's not the most difficult thing ever. We can make it work. And, of course, if you've got something like an Ultra Ball, discard the last 2 cards in your hand, and then search for this and play it down. And this obviously really helps, because generally speaking, you can play 4 Greninja and 4 Greninja GX, but you can only play 4 Froakie, you can only play 4 Frogadier. That's a little bit of a pain. So what we do here is we play this from our hand and evolve our Frogadiers up to the non-GX Greninja. Incidentally, if you did want to play a couple of the Forbidden Light Greninja GX that drops damage, you can only have 4 in combination of that one and this one, because they are both Greninja GX, and you can only have 4 Greninja GX in your deck. So it gives you extra draw power, which is really, really nice. But it also gives you just a flat 130. 1 water, 1 colorless, 130, not affected by weakness, resistance, or other effects. Now, the fact that it doesn't hit for weakness sucks, but it goes through effects. Things like Lucario and Melmetal, whereby you use a GX attack and for the remainder of the game, all your metal Pokemon take 30 less damage. Yeah, not from this, that goes right through it. Things like Lusamine Prism Star, which sees some play in Ultra Beast decks to give it immunity the following turn. Yeah, this goes right through it. Things like Duskmane Necrozma, which gets immunity. This goes right through it. I say Duskmane, I mean Dawn Wings, you know what I mean. This has got so much utility against so many Pokemon that it's just going to give you a huge advantage. And generally speaking, no, you probably don't want to rely on this. Having a non-GX that only takes damage every other turn, or 50% of the time, I suppose is more accurate, is phenomenal. And that spreads around damage with the best of them. But the fact of the matter is, that only does 50 to 1 Pokemon at any time. This can do 130. So this can be a little bit of a sweeper. You do 50 damage to a couple of Gardevoir. Then you do 50 damage to those same Gardevoir again. Oh, look, now they've both got 130 HP remaining. In comes Greninja GX. Although with a choice band, Greninja GX will then do a total of 260, 250s plus 160, and that's getting your tag team GXs like Pikachu and Zekrom. And remember, you don't even have to evolve this up. You just wait until you got 0 cards in hand or when you need it. You play it down, obviously 0 cards after you played this. You play it down, you draw 3 cards, and then hopefully you draw something like an Aqua Patch to get that extra energy on there, and you're just off and rolling. This is a handy bonus. And that's why I think Greninja's about to be good. You got Brooklet Hill for consistency, and you can use Alolan Vulpix, and you got Aqua Patch, and you've got Quagsire and Naganadel. You got all the tricks that water decks have. Plus, you've got the existing Frogadier, and then you've got both of these, plus a Forbidden Light one if you want, and it all just adds up to wonderful. And that's before I mentioned that Fire decks are about to become amazing. Reshiram and Charizard Tag Team GX? Yeah, that's coming out in Unbroken Bonds, and frankly, ladies and gentlemen, it's ridiculous. And they're getting Welder, which allows you to attach 2 fire energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon, and then draw 3 cards. And then there's other stuff like Fire Crystal that gets free energy, fire energy, from your discard into your hand. And we're left in this ridiculous situation where you've got Fire decks coming up, you've got great support for water, and you've got a number of different options, and I really do think Greninja is getting ready to be absolutely brilliant. You got to wait till Detective Pikachu comes out, and arguably you should wait until Unbroken Bonds comes out, because when Unbroken Bonds comes out, that's when Fire gets awesome. But make no mistake about it, Greninja is about to be as good as it's been, well, since the Greninja Break heyday, and I, for one, am delighted. But I would very much like to know what you think about this. So please let me know in the comment section what you think about Greninja, whether you think it's going to be good, whether you're excited, or whether you think it's going to be just another Stage 2 that's not quite good enough. Go nuts in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.